The thing about watching your matches that grabbed me was the way the matches would flip-flop, where you'd think it was going one way, then it would go the other way, then it would go, and it was so believable, and that was key to keeping people's attention for long periods of time. I'm thinking of like the Iron Man match you did with Brett, for example, at WrestleMania 12, I think it was, and watching you coming from the skies created like just such a moment. And I know Undertaker's kind of got missed at WrestleMania, but you definitely pushed him for that. When you mention about your personality and whether people like you personally or not, what is it like looking back at those younger years for you? Because obviously a lot of people said a lot of things about how you behaved in the backstage, because you were the superstar and now you're a man who's, wise. You look back at that. What is it like looking back at that?
Well, look, obviously, I would love to be able to change a lot of it, obviously. But I always tell people, so I don't know if I'd have gotten where I got to or had the success that I had if I didn't go about it that way. And again, obviously, we'll never know. But I think, again, I'm always kind of remiss to want to change anything for fear I wouldn't be where I'm at now, which I totally love. So, look, I would love to have been able to have handled myself more maturely, more professionally, but and still been able to have all the talent and the ability. But I'm not sure if I'd have had the confidence and the drive and the ambition that I had in that ring night after night, day after day, year after year, if I didn't have that same attitude. I was very, I was angry, but I really wanted to make a point. And so I don't know. I don't know if I'd have done it another way. I don't know that I'd have driven that home as much as I would have liked to. So I don't know if it makes sense, but it's kind of sure, I would have loved to have changed it, but that might have changed everything. And I wouldn't want that.
Yeah, well, it's ironic because I've just interviewed Logan Paul earlier today, who made his debut at WrestleMania, and similarly, if you take that out of the personality, that young, youthful, I can do anything, don't tell me what I can't do, you just don't get the same output. And I was wondering what you thought of his debut, because a lot of people were fairly impressed by it.
Absolutely. And I was as well. And that's something that I'm glad you brought it up, because, again, that was, look, it's always a question, I know, to people when we bring in, again, celebrities from the outside. And now I will say, I think the celebrities really make a really, big effort to make sure that they adjust to our sport well. But he did a fantastic job. I will say this, I wasn't that surprised by it, because again, if you've watched him in boxing and almost everything he does, he jumps into it, a full bore. He's 100% committed to everything he does. So I wasn't surprised by it, but at the same time, he really did do a fantastic job. And again, what we do isn't easy by any stretch. And especially if you're going to do it just once. Again, I always found, again, people would always ask me, that's why, Taker and I was always impressed with the way he'd go a year off and come back to WrestleManias. And people would ask me, like, why don't you do that? And I was just like, no way, that's harder to me. You know what I mean? I'm better doing it more consistently. But to just have to step away from it and get back into it, that takes a lot of commitment. And for somebody that's never done it, and then to jump in all the way and commit to it like he did, again, I admire that, and I think he did a great job.